Hi, I'm Craig Rowland, founder of Sandfly Security. Today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between using tactics and techniques hunting on Linux versus using more traditional signature-based approaches for detecting threats. Now, Sandfly is what we call a tactics or technique hunter, and I actually think this is the most effective way to find compromises that happen on the Linux platform. This is as opposed to traditional mechanisms which try to identify each specific piece of malware and all the various variants that you see out there. Sandfly is actually not concerned with various malware names and all the variants that exist. We only care about whether or not a system is indicating that it might be compromised based on the tactics or techniques we've uncovered on that box. Now, the easiest way to explain this is through usually like a log tampering example. So in Linux, there are basically three ways to do log tampering. One is you nuke it from orbit. This is traditionally going to be done through your low grade crypto mining activity where they just erase all the log files because they don't care because they're going to get caught anyway. Second is you can overwrite an audit trail entry with an invalid character. So, for instance, with a bunch of nulls or zeros. So, this way, when the Linux auditing tools report on that log, if they see the invalid record, they just skip it and they just don't tell you anything about it. This way, you don't see anything happen. The third way is the most sophisticated. That's actually where I go into the log file, I remove the entry I don't want seen, and then I splice it back together again. So this way, when the log file auditing tools report on it, they just don't see any entry at all. Now, there are dozens of tools out there that could do any variety of these things. They could log clean by wiping everything out. They could log clean by overwriting things with zeros so you don't see it, or they could go ahead and splice the tools together. And by trying to identify every one of those log cleaners, it doesn't really work well on Linux because a lot of these tools are open source. They're easily modified, easily recompiled, easily obfuscated, easily encrypted, easily hidden in a variety of other ways. And you really are chasing your tail trying to do it. What we want to do instead with Sandfly is we're going to say, look, if we see any of these system compromise attributes in the log that indicate it's been tampered with, we know enough to say that that was not an accident and something has gone wrong with this host. The easiest way here is just to show you. Here I have a system here that has a utemp entry overwritten with zeros. When I click on it, we simply tell you utemp entry 4 has been overwritten with zeros, erase what it is. Someone has tampered with this log to conceal their activity. Very simple and straightforward. We don't care what the log cleaner is here. It could be wipe, zap, zap2. There's advanced log wipers and all sorts of other things out there. We just don't care what it is. All we care is that someone did this tactic and this technique on here to hide their presence, and that's all that matters. So I recommend using this way of thinking for identifying especially Linux threats. You can get away with finding malware types on Windows because they're not quite as easily changed as we see in the Linux environment. But on the Linux environment, they're so easily changed. There's so many variants out there. I definitely recommend you avoid trying to identify every piece of malware and instead on your threat hunting efforts, focus just on finding the tactics and technique. It'll make you far more effective at finding threats against Linux, especially novel and unknown threats for things you've never seen before. The malware is not going to be easily seen with these generic signature checking, and the only way you're going to find it is by hunting the tactics and techniques. So I'm Craig Rowland from Sandfly Security. Thanks again for watching my video. I hope you have a good day. Check out our other videos as well. I appreciate your time. Thank you.